you sum that one up, Jay? Like, it felt like Victory scored at pretty crucial times, first 5 minutes of both halves, right before time sort of taking them on into the game until the end of the game.
Yeah, I think any time to score is a good time. Yeah, it's just disappointed. I thought, I don't mind losing. I don't mind when teams outplay us. I don't mind, if, team tactically, do things to make it hard for us. But for me, I think we gave them 3 goals today. To concede after 3 minutes, little poor defending, the corner, poor defending, essentially balls on the top of the 6-yard. And then we get transition for the 3rd goal. We had 6 players around the ball. And we essentially gave up a shot, top of the box. So I was disappointed in that regard. What I liked about today was we didn't give up, which was good. And a little bit more polish today with the ball, a little bit more control, we probably would have scored the 3rd or 4th.
Are you disappointed that it was around 70 metres before scoring and didn't concede?
Yeah, I think that's also the goal that we conceded in the first game. We had 6v4 in that moment. We couldn't stop the progression, and it's just, it's not acceptable to defend in those moments like that. You have the ascendancy, you have the players. I even say, could foul, what's the worst that's going to happen? A yellow card, I think even the defensive line could step when they know there's danger. So I was very disappointed, very frustrated with that.
It's great finish by Carlo. Did he injure himself in the act of scoring?
I think in the act of celebrating. So he scored, and then I think he jumped, and then he felt something. So he wanted to keep playing. Obviously, he's been subbed on. He's just scored, and then it's just a risk because now he's had an ongoing issue with the injury, and we didn't want to risk it again because if he pulled it properly, that's his season done.
Did you feel like after that momentum was with you?
Yeah, well, I thought, they were there for the taking. I mean, they still had a high defensive line. I mean, we started to load the line a little bit and being a little bit more direct because it felt like, even bypassing the midfield and flying into the wide areas, making a 2v1, we were really effective. We just some moments we just, I don't want to say careless, but just the care factor of the touch and that moment, we actually had a lot of opportunity to hurt them. That was a disappointing thing.
How delighted were you with the first goal that you scored? Because
me?
The way that goal was scored.
Yeah.
There's been a few comments online that it's very much like a peak, cheeky ball.
Yeah.
Is that sort of the way you want to play that exact sort of goal?
Yeah, we're very far off the football I want to play, and that's for a number of reasons. And it's not an excuse or anything. We're just far away. But there've been moments where we sort of replicate the moments that I want to bring to life in the season. That can be continuity. That could be just chemistry between players. New playing squad, younger players. A mix of things. But what I've liked about the direction of the team in the last maybe 5-6 weeks is we're starting to get back to those ideas. More consistency, and we're being a little bit more, not so much about provoking teams to come in and being a little bit more methodical. It's more about actually getting the ball in those dangerous areas and being a little bit more effective and speeding the game up a little bit and so on. So there was one moment today where we almost scored in the first half and we had 6 players in the box. And I was actually really happy with the numbers that we had there. We got transition and we almost gave up a goal, but the intention of the players to get forward was good. So again, we've made a lot of chances in the last 3-4 weeks, more stylistically, close to where I want, but we're nowhere near the exact style I want.
Are you hopeful that the uptick in performance over recent weeks has come down to the end of the season of contract? Does that give you hope of staying, that you can show that, hey, once we get you guys back, there is some potential here?
Look, I'm not here to prove my worth. The club knows what I can do, what I can't do. It's not for me to, if they're second guessing now whether, I'm the right person for the job, that, that's an answer within itself. Again, I like to think that, given a good pre-season and the resources I need to succeed, I think I can do one better than last year. and I have that belief. And this year's actually given me more belief than any other season as a coach. You know, this has been very challenging for me personally, my coaching staff, but I've learnt a lot this year. You know, I've learnt things that I never envisaged in a million years that would happen, especially in a group environment. But I'm better for it. I've spoken to a lot of coaches who have gone through this process. They say exactly the same thing. So I've taken a lot of encouragement in that. And, you know, if the club feels like, you know, there's someone else who can do a better job and so on, then, you know what, they have my blessing. I love the club. I want the best for the club. I think I've given them, the coaching staff have given them probably the greatest moment they've had, you know, last year. I feel, you know, there's still plenty of potential. You know, this club has gone through so much over the last couple of years. I feel like, you know, no better redemption story with us winning it and potentially me at the helm.
Apologies for my late arrival. Just
Sure.
a couple from me. You must have Corbin Piper. I think Corbin Piper really fits the profile of a chiefy player necessarily. But I think the things about a player like him since Ben Sigmund,
Yeah.
not that I can remember. What did you see him in initially, and what have you seen from him this season?
Good question. I think we were in the market for not a concept player, but a player that had potential that we could, you know, work with. And I probably looked at him more as a utility player, someone that could fill in. He had a lot of good defensive abilities, a natural inclination to defend, which is very hard to teach. It's instinctual. So when you see players like that, it's like Luke Brooks-Smith with his attacking. He's got something, you can't teach it, you just got to harness it. And the same with Corbs. But for me, Corbs, every week, you know, gives 100%. That's all I ask for players, you know. I always, you know, the one big thing I've learned this season is you can be great tactically, you can have the best sessions, you can have all that crap, right? It doesn't matter. If you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't, everything fails. For me, I never question his mindset. He gives me 100%. He's, you know, we ask him to do something, he does it. Like even, you know, today, he was still running at the end. He copped 2 hits at the end, collisions, you know, probably, who knows, probably has a concussion or something, but he kept going and he was a danger. Is he the polished version that we want now? I think he's still got a lot of upside. But for me, if every player had like that, it'd be very easy to win games, I think.
Just on that mindset, can you coach that mindset?
Yes. Yes. That's, you're then dealing with player expectation, group expectation, how you deliver messages. Yeah, I think it's very coachable. You know, I've seen some very poor teams win leagues. For me, the most infamous, and it's no disrespect to Ranieri, well, sorry, the utmost respect to Ranieri, but when he took over Leicester, no one gave him a chance. But the mindset he instilled in that team and incorporated was a very, you know, a massive collective, a togetherness. It's something that I like to think that we try and build here.